Hey everyone, Seth Campbell here again with a new Segue Says podcast. As most of you know, I've been uploading the backlog of these episodes to YouTube for the past few months, so it's just been quite a while since I've actually filmed a new one. So this is going to be a brand new Segue Says episode uploaded to YouTube and Facebook simultaneously, first time that's been done. And in the interim time, since I last filmed one of these, I've been creating a lot of new segues, testing some of performances. Some worked, some didn't, but there are a lot of really cool new ones that I'm really proud of that you'll get to see in the coming weeks. That said, this is actually a significantly older one. One of the first I came up with before I actually started performing segues. It just occurred to me that these songs sounded really similar, and I figured you could play pieces of one within the other, and I'll get back to that toward the end of this video. So the two songs here are two sort of R&B pop rock absolute classics. First is Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel, and the second is Superstition by Stevie Wonder. Now, I was amazed in going through the backlog that, as I'm sure you all know by now, I am a huge Peter Gabriel fan, and yet I have not to date created a Segue Says video involving a Peter Gabriel song. Surprised me, at any rate. But this one is two songs with the same groove, in the same key, sort of. And I'll explain that in a bit. But they're both swing 16ths, both in E flat. Just to refresh your memory in case you're wondering, these songs, Sledgehammer, I'm sure you know the famous groove is... And the verse section is actually in E flat major. And then the most famous part is probably the chorus, which actually modulates to F minor. That's I wanna be your sledgehammer when you call my name. Oh, I'm your sledgehammer. Put your mind at rest. I'm gonna be, etc. You know it by now. The chorus is actually, well, I don't want to call it irrelevant because it's such an awesome chorus, but for our purposes with the segue, the chorus is not an integral part of that. Because Sledgehammer, like a lot of Peter Gabriel songs, actually kind of has two sections to it. You got the first bit, the verses are in the major and the chorus is in a different minor, but still kind of following that scale. And you got verse, chorus, and then you've got a sort of outro bridge jam thing that it switches to minor. So you got this chord progression. Pretty much over and over again, and you got the won't you show for me, I will show for you, won't you show for me, I will show for you, yeah, and do me you, I keep feeling the rhythm. And there's some vocal improvisation there. Excuse me providing my own backing vocals, but there's nobody else here, so it'll have to do. But it cycles on that section for a while, so that's going to be the section that's crucial to this segue. Now I'm going to take a bit of a detour, leave Sledgehammer to the side for a second, and examine Superstition, which is of course by Stevie Wonder. It's a song. It's difficult to play solo piano because it's really about the bass and drum groove and the clavinet. And Sledgehammer doesn't work on a clavinet, so I play this segue on the piano sound, and yes, I have actually tried playing Sledgehammer with a clavinet sound. But that's another story for another day. Superstition, of course, is the one that has that famous groove. It's, again, E flat minor, swing 16ths. And, of course, the verse is very superstitious, writing on the wall. Very superstitious, let her start to fall. 13-month-old baby, drop the looking glass. 7 years of bad luck, good things in your past. You believe in things you don't understand, and you suffer. Superstition ain't the way. So now you're left on this groove. And that's how it starts and ends. And for those who are familiar with these videos and have been following the Segue chronology over the past couple of years, you may see where this is going already. The essence of this, it's another, I love to do this Segue both ways. I think it works best as Sledgehammer, Superstition, Sledgehammer, but you can do it the other way. And I'm going to show you the two two connector pieces that the actual Segue transitions, and then after that I'll try to explain why I prefer one way over the other. But so you're at the end of Sledgehammer. What we're doing, won't you show for me? I will show for you. So again, you're just looping this progression with vocal improvisations. And even though the chords are changing, the Superstition groove still works over the changes. And occasionally when I'll perform this live, some people will pick up right here on what I'm about to do. Some people don't really catch on, you know, because like I said, it works, so it doesn't jump out. Particularly with the vocals. Yeah, do me you. Feel the rhythm, yeah. I keep feeling the rhythm, yeah. I feel that power. Whoa, gonna help me through. Come on, help me through. Come on, help me through. What we're doing all day and night. Help me through. And then when you're ready to make the switch, just stop changing the chords in the left hand and lighten it up a little bit. About 4 bars of this to really solidify that you're now fixed in this position on this chord. Very superstitious on the one. There you go. So it's fairly easy, fairly quick, and that's usually the point where if people hadn't figured out what was going on before, they certainly have now. As a matter of fact, I was playing this just sort of a jam session. We had a couple guests staying in our house about a week and a half ago, I think, and there was that moment once I started singing Superstition where it just clicked and everyone's like, ah, I see what he's doing. That's why I do these. That moment. I mean, I love moments when a band plays a cover song, for example, when the crowd figures out what the song is, and this is in that same kind of vein. Is when the audience catches on, there's this moment of realization, and just, what's the word? I can't, not euphoria, but there's like because everyone figures out at the same time, so there's almost a sort of camaraderie about it, I guess is what I'm looking for. But in any case, you get to the end of Superstition, and by this point, you've built up, it's the same group, but you built it up pretty heavy. So you have the last, believe in things you don't understand and you suffer. Superstition ain't the way. Now, now, now. And now, here's a funny other thing, and this is kind of what drew my attention to the fact that these songs are very similar in the first place, is in Superstition you've got this horn line at the end of the chorus. And in Sledgehammer, toward the end when it starts that progression, Sledgehammer, then you get that sort of keyboard thing. And there's a horn line. I kick the habit, kick the habit. And so it starts off with the same two notes. And it's kind of I don't know if Gabriel was conscious of the fact when he was writing the parts for Sledgehammer, or if that was an unintentional homage, but there's definitely a similarity there. So that's kind of what first drew my attention to these two songs as being similar, because I've known these songs for a long, long time before I started doing segues as a performance. But so you've got the end of. There was a little detour, hope you'll excuse me, but you've got the end of Superstition. Na na na. And if you wanted, you could even do the Sledgehammer. Really doesn't make a difference, but of course that keys in that it's Sledgehammer much earlier. So you've got this groove again, and just basically reverse what you did. Add the chord changes. Couple times through to solidify it, then bring in the vocals. I get right, I kick the habit, shed my skin. This is the new stuff. Or you could just start with the show for me, show for you part if you don't want to do the entire Sledgehammer outro over again. So that's how you get from one to the other in both instances. Now the reason I prefer starting with Sledgehammer is because, like I said, Sledgehammer goes through a change sort of key, you know, from major to minor, and the scale certainly changes. So the opening bit, it's major. So Superstition is in minor, in the second half of Sledgehammer is in minor. So if you do Sledgehammer, you get the major section out of the way, and you're in minor for the whole rest of the thing. Flows a little more smoothly. Now if you wanted to do Superstition first, you can do this. And that would require a bit of a different maneuver, because you're not going straight to the outro. But you starting in minor, going to major for half of a song, and then minor for half of a song, and then back to minor to finish. For going back to Superstition. Again, it works, but it's a little different. And this is how you'd go from Superstition to the beginning of Sledgehammer, probably. I've only done it a couple times. Is you know, you're on this groove. 2, 3. The Sledgehammer intro is kind of ambiguous if it's minor or major. Hey, hey, you. And then you're definitely in major here. Well, Mixolydian major, but you get the picture. So, which is it's a bit of an abrupt change to go out of minor into major and then back into the minor. So that's why I like to get the major out of the way first by doing Sledgehammer. But again, works either way, and it's certainly fun to perform either way. So that is a real classic. One that's been my bag of tricks for a long time, and I'm sure may have occurred to some of you guys as well upon hearing these songs. So hopefully you enjoyed this, and I'm very much looking forward to the coming weeks in which I'll be making a new one of these every week, which is something I haven't tried before, so hopefully I won't run out of ideas anytime soon. I don't expect that to happen, but you never know. So in any case, thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon.